Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
We're live now.
Okay.
Hold on. Attention, everyone. I have an announcement. Announcing Samantha.
That's it?
Presenting Samantha.
I really thought you had something to say.
No,
I got excited. I was like, I don't even know what this is. This is privileged information.
I have to go out and do my DIY pest control. This is annoying. Oh, now the rain stopped.
No,
Great.
we are not. We are not in an airing of grievances. I
Go
regret
ahead.
to inform you. We'll
Okay,
get
go ahead.
there on Friday, but
Go
today
ahead.
is Tuesday, Jim. You
It's
know what that
Tuesday.
means. It's time for an episode.
Oh,
I
it is.
am not going to tell you what the topic is quite yet because
Okay.
before we get there, there is something that I found that I think would be very helpful for a lot of people to hear,
Oh, no.
including people in this room.
That would be me.
Okay. So maybe you've heard this before,
Okay.
but it's something I had not heard it before, and I think it is fascinating.
What is it?
Things that you, or what you should think to yourself before you say something.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, great. Here we go.
So the first thing you should think, is it true? Is what I'm about to say true? So if you're about to tell a lie, you know it's a lie.
Right.
Don't say it. Why are we all over
I don't
here
think I have a
lying?
major issue there, but
You don't have a major issue there. I agree. So is it true? If it's true, continue on to the next step.
Mhm.
Is it helpful? Okay. Now, your issue...
depends on what your definition of helpful is.
Exactly. Your issue is that you think that's subjective, and it's not. Okay.
If it's helpful to me,
No.
it makes me feel
if it's
better.
helpful to the people around you,
Why is that relevant?
I'm telling you how it is, okay? But that's fine because there are other things that we'll get to that
Okay.
we'll cross off if you're about to say something, okay?
Okay.
So is it helpful? So if it's true and it's helpful, continue on.
Okay.
Is it necessary?
Oh, now, okay. By the time we're finished with this whole list,
There are
it's going
only
to be
four.
like,
It's just
it's
four.
going to
This is
say
the
I should
third
never
thing.
say anything.
Is it necessary?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Okay.
Is it
If-
something that has to be said, and is it something that has to be said by you? That's what I take as being, is it necessary?
If nobody else is going to say it, it's like when I hear somebody say nuclear, I can't let
Okay.
it go.
So is it true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? We've
Yes.
crossed all of those things off.
Then,
The fourth and final thing to consider. Is it kind?
oh, we'll forget that.
I know.
Forget that.
So I want you in your head
Who,
to think these things. I don't know. This is just one of the things you see on the internet.
I know, but
I
the
like
thing
it.
is, no, we spend way too much time worrying about making people feel
No,
good for the
this
sake
has-
of good.
No, this has nothing to do with making people feel good and participation trophies and, oh, are you okay? And all of that. This has nothing to do with any of that. This is
Were you
just
okay?
for you
Are
to
you
be,
okay?
and not
Do
you,
need
but for
anything?
people in general to
No, but-
be better versions of themselves. There are some things that you just don't have to say, or that you could say differently in a different
Okay,
setting.
I can accept that.
Preferably one-on-one and
I-
not in a group setting where if you are
That's a
saying
good point.
something that's
I
like a
can
little
accept that.
mean, then it's better to do it
I can
in
accept
private.
that, but the last part, is it kind? It's like, well, again, it comes down to how you define that, right?
I'm going to stop you right there because I think constructive criticism is kind. But
That's my point.
constructive criticism, that does not mean insults.
No,
That does not mean judgmental
or sarcasm.
or sarcasm. It is constructive criticism, and that is
I can accept that,
okay.
but
good talk.
the only thing, I agree with all of that. There is one caveat, though.
What?
If you're going to say something, even if it's sarcastic, but it's really funny, then it's okay to forego all of those rules. If it's something that's just really funny, even if you're going to really hurt someone's feelings, and it's not necessary, and it's even mean, but it's really funny.
I don't.
It's okay.
The thing is, I don't disagree, but I will be using
Well,
that.
that's a surprise.
I will be using that against you as well. So when I think of something that's really mean
Okay.
and will upset you,
Okay,
and
you just
probably
have
make
to-
you cry,
Okay.
I'm just going to say it, and you're going to have to deal with
Okay. Just as long as you clarify, and it has to be after the fact because it'll ruin it if you say it before.
it. It will.
Clarify after the fact that I know it was mean, unkind, completely unnecessary, but it was just really funny.
Better to ask for forgiveness than permission,
Yep.
as they say. I
Yep.
hate that saying.
Yep.
Don't be
Like
a
if
jerk,
you
and
had,
then you don't have
like
to
you know,
ask
some
for
of the
forgiveness.
videos that I remember, some of the early videos from the internet were like horrifying. Like they showed someone getting hit by a car, but they flipped around in the air and stuff, and they probably died, but it just looked really funny. So the act of hitting the person, even if you were the person that pushed them in front of the car, was kind of okay because it was really funny.
I literally watched someone fall out of a hot air balloon that was caught on fire the other day. Do you not? You said the beginning of the internet. What do you mean the
Well,
beginning?
that's true.
Of
That
the
still
internet?
exists. Yeah.
All right.
And you were laughing while you
I
watched it,
certainly
right?
was not.
As
It was a horrendous
as this
sight.
person plummeted to a fiery death. Well, maybe not a fiery death because they jumped out of the balloon. They avoided a fiery death and instead wound up with a different kind of
I
death.
was thinking at that point, the thing's on fire, and
Yeah.
I didn't actually read the whole thing for this or whatever, so I don't know what happened and if there were any survivors or anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking because they were really far off the ground.
Yeah.
If I'm in that situation, literally those are your two options. You either burn to death, which is one of my personal greatest fears after watching Angels and Demons, or you
Just-
jump to your
and it's
death
all- and you
and then
know-
it's a long death, but maybe you pass
It's
out
not
on the
that
way
long.
down
I don't know if you do.
from
but
air
but-
loss or
You know, this has
whatever.
turned really dark.
I know. Okay.
But it reminds me of, seriously, that reminds me of 9/11 when people were jumping out of the building.
Right.
And it
Similar.
was the most horrifying
similar.
thing to dwell on that. But that is probably exactly what went through those people, their mind. The weird thing is, did anyone think, well, maybe I can sort of, as weird as it sounds, sort of climb down the building? And they tried, and it's like,
Okay, that's
didn't
enough
work.
of this.
I know, we
What a
should.
pleasant way to start this episode.
Yeah, at
And
least it's not Monday, it's Tuesday.
It's actually kind of ironic because in this episode is a suggestion from someone that I work with.
Okay.
They said that we should give our takes on, what's the right way to say it? Things like making wishes on 11/11 and on wishes on shooting stars and things like that.
Things that are like superstition
Sure.
kind of things.
Yeah. And whether or not you believe in those things and I mean, honestly, I would go so far as to connect all of those things because you start with something small like that, like making a wish on 11/11, but then, even just like quote unquote miracles and things like that. I think it's kind of all on the same kind of line. And I want to make it really clear. That there was a time in my life that I made wishes on 11/11 and on eyelashes and on dandelions and things like that.
11,
Those are all things. I don't do any of that anymore. I don't
I
believe
don't
in
even
it.
remember that one. 11/11.
Well, I have, here's the thing, okay? Because I was wondering, why do people make wishes on 11/11? What is just because all the numbers are ones? That's because they all line up, right?
Yeah.
And so Google states that people do this because of a belief rooted in numerology and synchronicity, where the number 11 is considered, and obviously people do this like not even realizing that they're doing it, right? Where the number 11 is considered a, quote, master number, and seeing it is seen as a positive sign or a moment of alignment with the universe.
I don't do any of this.
You don't actually make wishes like that?
I have no dreams. My dreams. No,
They're dead and
11/11.
gone.
I mean, that of all the things that I could not, that would be the weirdest one to me to make a wish on. I mean, it comes every year. It's like, oh, today's the day.
No,
that I get to
it's
make
the
a wish.
time on the clock. It's not the date.
Oh. Well,
It's
what if
when
it's
you
what if
see
it's
it's
11/11, 11/11?
Then that's like a big one.
Is it AM or PM?
Both.
Well, yeah, but if you're using a 24-hour clock, it could only be AM.
Then it'd only be AM.
Okay. So it could basically be whatever you want. It could just be, whatever you decide, 11, 11, 11, 11.
Have you never heard of this concept?
I maybe I did at one point, but if I did, I completely forgot about it. So, but it doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's kind of like a shooting star, which is really an asteroid. Plot or what? Not plot twist.
It's a plot twist.
Hate to break it to you, but spoiler. That's it. Spoiler alert. No, I don't like miracles. The concept of miracles. I believe in miracles, but the problem is, I think most or a lot of people just want to believe everything is a miracle or everything. Like, in other words, I can believe in coincidence and still believe in miracles, right? So every coincidence is not a miracle, and every miracle,
Is
quote
a
unquote,
coincidence.
is a coincidence. No. and
That's what
every
I think.
right. So you have people that believe that just period don't believe in miracles, right? They don't believe.
That's probably me.
They don't believe in. So in other words, that would be an atheist. Doesn't believe in miracles.
I'm not suggesting that miracles are only attributable to a religious thing.
Well, to me,
I
that's
think,
it's. I guess I connect the two, right?
well, obviously,
and
based
so-
on your
Well, yeah, I'm saying, like, in other words, so I believe in miracles. There's a song like that, isn't
I
an ABBA song?
believe in miracles. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
I'm
that's a
thinking.
different one. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking.
An ABBA song I was thinking of.
I think, I mean, yeah, obviously you're taking it a more religious route and all of that.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about, I don't know. I think a lot of things that happen are coincidences. And
I agree with that. I don't disagree with that.
when they happen, your brain, because you want so badly to believe, that either the universe is on your side or against you, whichever way you feel,
It's
that
against me.
you are able to take whatever coincidence has happened and say, and if it's good, you take the coincidence, you look at it and you say, I made a wish on 11/11. Remember that? Or I made a wish on a shooting star. I remember that. What is this if not the result of that? And I just don't feel that. I feel
Yeah.
like people want an explanation for things that happen, and I don't think that's how it works. I think there are just so many coincidences happening constantly.
Well, it's funny because
Am I
and it's weird because it's hard not
am I
to
bitter?
it's hard not to on some level relate to it back to religion. And the reason I say that is, let's say I'm in a race, okay, and it's for the state championship, and I say a prayer before the race. Please let me win this. I'll never ask for anything the rest of the day if you let me win this, right?
Sure.
But let's say there's a person I'm racing against, and they also are saying the same prayer. Okay, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. Okay. So does that mean one prayer was answered and it's quote unquote a miracle and the other prayer was not?
No.
Or if we both happen to see the night before the same shooting star and we both wish on the shooting star that we win the race.
But in that example, I feel like that's a much different example because you obviously didn't wake up that morning and decide that you were going to do a race. This is something you've trained for and prepared for over days, weeks, months, years, whatever it is. So to say a prayer in the beginning, I think, is more just like making yourself feel calmer and more at peace. I don't think in any, especially if you're, and I'm
Well-
not trying to take this off on a religious thing again.
No.
Even though I understand that they could be considered connected and all that, but like, especially if you're under the belief, which most people are, it's my understanding that most people are, that God does not interfere in what's happening on earth. So you saying a prayer, it's not like God hears your prayer and is like, I'm going to make you just a little bit faster today so that you win.
Yeah.
That's not how
Yeah.
it works. So the
Yeah.
prayer is to make yourself feel more at peace.
Well, in that
and-
case, right, you'd maybe pray for God, help me do the best that I can do kind of thing,
But
right?
that's what I'm saying. He can't
Right.
if he really doesn't interfere.
Right.
And two, you're going to do the best that you can
Yeah.
because you've done the training and you've put in all the work.
Right. Well, and
It's
I
not.
in that case, I would win because I'm just fast.
Okay.
I'm really fast.
And you didn't put in any work, so you deserve it.
I put in a minimal amount of work, but I'm just
No, you didn't put in
I'm
any.
very fast.
Remember when I asked you to go for a walk this morning and you said no?
Because I had things to do. I told you. What did I tell you? I told you exactly why.
You said that you cared more about your spiritual health than your physical.
And I had to go to church.
Yeah, but that kind of, there was no other time that you could have gone to church.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm wrong then. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay. Well, I mean, so that's my take on it. Like I'm not like superstitious.
I am a little.
I am a little stitious, yeah. But but like I just I just feel like I said, I feel like people just want to latch on to something and they just want to, and that kind of, I don't know, it kind of gets under my skin when
I do think though there is, because I'm trying to think right now where would be a good place to fall on the spectrum, right? Because if you believe that everything is a miracle, then it's like, well, why should I put any effort in? Because I don't have any control over this, and what's going to happen is going to happen, and I should just, trust that what's meant to be is going to be. And I do not subscribe to that. I do not believe that at all. Whatever. The opposite end, what?
No, I don't either, because I canceled a lot of my subscriptions to save money.
The opposite end of that is not believing in that, like that anything is a universal thing. Like karma. Do you believe in karma?
What comes around goes around kind of thing.
That's karma. Do you believe in it?
I know.
You just described karma for the people listening that don't know what it is.
I do believe that, but not as in some magical or I don't know, the universe or God, getting revenge. I believe more or less like if you treat people badly, eventually it's going to come around and people are going to treat you.
Thing that was
but it's not. No, it's human nature. If you're a jerk, eventually, I don't know. Maybe this is wishful thinking on my part.
I think it is.
Maybe it is. It's like nice guys finish last. If there's karma, then nice guys are last for a long time, but eventually they finish first because they're a nice guy, and the jerks eventually get their what's it called? Get their comeuppance or whatever.
Okay.
No, but seriously. But unfortunately, I don't think that happens. I think jerky people sometimes are jerks their entire life.
Yes.
And it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so they keep getting the grease, and other people just live their lives and want to be left alone and have to deal with all the crap of the jerky person. And
yeah.
Oh, wow. What a great...
Like I'm thinking about, and we've used this example before, when you're driving on I-4 or something and you have an idiot that's going like 90, 100 miles an hour and swerving in and out of traffic. And you think, and I feel like when we're driving, you always say that, I hope there's a cop up there or something, because you want that instant karma. Like that's what you live for, is the instant karma. And I feel like in the majority of cases, that person, there's no cop. Nobody ever stops that person. They get to their destination. They're going to do it again and again and again. I just don't think, I don't know. I don't think there's some, I feel like if you believe in stuff like that, then you also kind of have to believe that our lives are in some ways like pre-planned and plotted out ahead of time. Like as though, and I'm not talking about in a religious way. I'm talking about in like a universal.
You're talking about like Forrest Gump kind of thing. Like,
I've never seen Forrest Gump, so I cannot say.
What's
that?
Well, the person that's zipping in and out of traffic, okay? And this is, I don't care. People can think I'm horrible. I would like to see them. My first option is see the car rolling and them off the side of the road.
That is an awful thing to
hold on,
say.
just to clear things up. I don't want them to be killed.
I know what you're going to say.
I just want them to be maimed and in a wheelchair the rest of their life.
That's an awful thing to say.
Okay, so I don't even want that.
On anybody.
I don't even want that. I just want their car to be wrecked, and I want them to be like, yes, this is karma. Good for you, you piece of crap, zero.
You non-contributing
zero. Yes. Yes, it's like seriously, I want that to happen to that person. And because people like that, if you make eye contact with them, they're usually a jerk, right? It's not like
How
somebody
could you? What do you
it's not
mean?
just by the look on their face. It's not it's not like my wife's going into labor. I've got to get to the hospital. No, it's some jerk that drives like that all the time. It's either sometimes it's a business executive who probably makes a lot of money, doesn't care if they get a ticket, and they're just like so high strung and they're going to be late for their meeting. So, oh my God, the half a dozen people that you kill along the way are just
Collateral damage.
collateral damage. That's the word, collateral damage, right? So they're that kind of person, or they could be like, who knows? It could be a younger person who's just a jerk, and the only reason they're a younger person is they just didn't get older yet. They'll be a jerk when they're older, and they'll be a street rat. And you were born a street rat. Never mind. I was going into
Okay.
Aladdin. But seriously, no. It's like, do you see how mad I get thinking about people like that? I hate that so much because it is the most completely selfish. Like you're saying, I don't care about anyone else on the road. I'm most important. It's like, I just detest people like that so much.
So do I.
Go ahead. I need to
Therapy? Yeah.
No, not therapy.
Oh.
A weapon.
No.
I need a weapon.
The opposite of therapy, in fact.
It could be, or it could be therapy.
I just feel like, and look, that's what I was trying to make the comparison. You have people that are like, everything's a miracle. You have people, and I'm certainly closer to this side, that are much more cynical and that think no. And I'm not saying, woe is me, nothing ever works out. That's not how I'm saying this at all. I'm just saying it as I believe if you're too far on the other side of the spectrum, then you're not taking accountability for your own actions and like responsibility for your own life. And you're just, you see a wishing star and it's like, this could change my life. This wishing star is like, no, you could change your life.
Right.
Right now,
Right.
you could change your life. You could do something that will literally change your life.
I have the same problem with that. I think there are people who, they act like everything is a miracle or everything is one way or another not directly under their control.
Right.
So they ignore what they can do.
But then I also think, because I do not think it's good to be where I'm at, which is closer to that side and being more cynical and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know. Is it like being in the middle is what? You take accountability for your actions, but if you see 11-11, you're like, nice, 11-11. And let me make a wish. Cool. Back to my work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the middle ground is.
Nothing wrong with
there.
covering all your bases there.
I guess that's true.
It's kind of like for your investments, you should have a balanced portfolio.
Okay.
This is sort of the same thing. But I think it reminds me of a joke. Right? No. This is quick, and I'm gonna kind of mess it up. But it's like there's a hurricane coming through. Let's say it's in Orlando, right? And there's an old guy, okay, who's in his house, and it's in a flood zone, and the hurricane's supposed to be bad. There's supposed to be a lot of flooding. So the cops are coming by like the day before, and they say, we really want everyone to evacuate. And the guy is like, no, I'll be fine. God will take care of me, right? The hurricane comes in.
Yes,
the water starts rising. Okay, he moves up to the second floor. The fire company comes through, and they're the same thing. They're saying, "Hey, you need to get out of here. This is flooding really bad." The guy's no, God will take care of me. Right? A few hours later, the guy is up on his roof. Okay, they even send like a helicopter, and they want to get him out of there. He's like, "No, I'll be all right. God will take care of me." Okay, the guy winds up drowning.
Yeah.
He goes up to heaven, okay? And he says to St. Peter or God, whatever, he said, what happened? He said, I was always told God will take care of me.
Yeah, like, where were you?
Where were you? And they said, first we sent the police, then we sent the fire company, then we sent a helicopter, and you didn't, you
didn't take any of the lifelines.
You didn't take our help, right?
Yep.
So that's what happened. So to me, that's the point, right? Is like, you have to, like God helps them who helps themselves. And this is in a religious context, but it doesn't have to be. but you have to help yourself, right? You can't sit around and just expect for miracles to take care of you.
Right.
Okay. If that's what you're going to do, your retirement plan may as well be playing the lottery because it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You know?
thought that was a shockingly a really good analogy. I'm surprised.
Every now and then I come
But-
up with one of most of my analogies are just horrible.
They are. But I think, right. So in general, I think maybe, as with a lot of things, it's good to be somewhere in the middle and to kind of, like I said earlier, you take accountability for yourself and your actions and take responsibility for your life and all of that. And if you see a shooting star, then it's like, cool, a shooting star.
Yep.
Let's make a wish.
Yep.
But then let's continue working, kind of thing. Because I recognize that it's also part of the reason people make wishes like this is because it's maybe not necessarily that they believe it'll change their life, but it's more a mindset of being like positive about what they're doing.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you don't necessarily, I hate to say you don't necessarily take it seriously.
Right.
Right. Maybe even do a little bit, but the point is, if it's a positive thing like that,
It's like
then
reinforcement,
it's not bad.
like
if
positive
you're
reinforcement.
like that movie Wish Upon a Star, right, where the two sisters basically change places,
Oh yeah,
right?
I didn't remember that.
That movie. Well, no, that is obviously that's an example that you could see happening. It happens probably every day.
All right.
I mean, you don't believe it? You've never tried it. That's
I do
why.
think though, because one of the things I was thinking about was like in The Princess and the Frog, because she makes, which is one of my favorite movies, because she makes the wish on the evening star when she sees it, and literally 5 seconds later she meets Prince Naveen in his frog form.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the perfect example of like, and I'm not suggesting this is propaganda or something, but obviously small children watching something like that, and that movie's not a great example because she obviously works very hard throughout the whole thing. But it's kind of the thing of like, I'm going to make a wish on this star. Oh, it worked out for her. She got a frog. But I'm going to do it too.
But it's a good example though, because like she did work really hard.
Right.
You know, that's the point.
And so that is more of a coincidence. She was just in the right place at the right time and just happened to make a wish while she was still.
What was the Firefly? Ray?
You want to
was
make
that
me
it?
cry
Was that
today?
it?
Yes.
Angeline was the
Evangeline.
one. Evangeline. So was the star she was wishing on really Evangeline?
That's the whole point.
Oh, it was the same one?
Yeah. Because then at the end, when he dies and they're the two stars next to each other. Spoiler alert, if you've all never seen Princess. I don't need a tissue. Jim needs a brief intermission. Did you never realize that?
I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
Yeah, she is the star, and when he dies, you see at the very end of the movie, you see the two stars right next to each other.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
No, I'm not. I'm not even tearing up.
What are you talking about?
Maybe it's just because I'm bitter and cynical.
You're bitter and cynical. I'm pretty bitter. I'm pretty bitter and cynical too. But I also have a softer side.
I guess I don't.
No, you don't.
All right, well, that's that then.
You take after your mother.
Okay, I hope you guys have a great week and make all the wishes you want. This is a judge-free zone, but
yeah,
they're
no,
not
it's not.
come.
This is a judge-free zone. What? I don't think so.
Okay, we'll see you all on Friday.
Judging is free in this zone.
That just made me think of the thing where it's like it costs nothing to be kind. The thing where the guy's like, how much is it to be a jerk? And there's just like silence. He's like, it's free too, isn't it?
Yeah, just to be clear. Well,
I'm not suggesting you all be jerks.
I would not call this judge free zone. Which Judge Judy would be on my side. Judge Judy. That is what's the word?
Judith. What's her last name?
Honesty. Brutal honesty. Brutal honesty.
No.
What? You don't think Judge Judy is honest?
I think she is brutally honest. And let's roll this back somehow to the beginning of this episode. Constructive criticism is what we're going for. Brutal honesty. Very rarely should brutal honesty be used.
They're not.
Very
Hold on,
rarely.
they're not mutually exclusive.
You don't even
And
know
hold
what that
on,
means.
yes, I do.
People out here just using words and phrases that
They are
sound
not.
nice.
No. Brutal honesty can also be constructive criticism.
No.
Constructive criticism does not imply niceness. It does not imply, like, if somebody, like, she has people on there all the time that
We're
are
not talking
just.
about Judge Judy. We're
We're
leaving.
talking about Judge.
Stop the tape.
Can we do an episode on Judge Judy?
Sure.
We'll have to see if we can have her on as a guest.
Stop the tape.
Okay. It's not. We're in the digital world. It's not a tape.
Stop the recording. Pull the lever, Kronk.
Okay.
Woo!
When are we doing the next episode?
You ready? I'll do another one.
No, I have other stuff to do. I really do. I'm drained. You haven't. No. Hold on, let me stop this one.